Hello and welcome to On the Wrist. Today we have the Santos de Cartier, which is one of my all-time grail watches. And I don't just have one, I actually have 4 different models to show you, different colors, styles, but all from this iconic line from an iconic brand. This review will be a full, detailed technical review of the watch, as well as looking into the history and the design details behind this beautiful, timeless piece. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The Cartier Santos dates back to 1904 when the Brazilian aviator Alberto Santos Dumont about how impractical using a pocket watch was while trying to fly. Cartier solved that problem by designing a flat wristwatch with a square bezel, effectively inventing the first pilot's watch and arguably the first sports watch. Flash forward to 1911, the Santos Dumont was introduced to the wider public and was a very popular watch. Ever since then, this has been a staple in the Cartier line, and for an even more in-depth history, I'll put a link in the description below to ID Guy and his video on the history of the watch. One of the things that make this watch so iconic are the design details and what the look of this watch has become. So of course, the rectangular shape is integral to the original design. The clean, white dial, blue handset are just so elegantly executed, this watch screams refined and classy. It's really quite interesting as all the numerals are on slants and there's a rectangular minute and hour tracker around the inside. One of the most prominent features of this watch is the bezel. On the stainless steel one, it is absolutely mirror polished, so gorgeous to look at, and on other variations they've changed the color, like on the two-tone, there's of course it's gold, or on the new one with the gray ADLC coating. That bezel is a cornerstone of the design and can add a lot of variety depending on the model. The case has a beautiful curve to it, so it sits perfectly on the wrist despite being a rectangular case. The bracelet has a bunch of small horizontal bar links with the screws prominently featured. This gives it a little bit of an industrial sports watch look, but still, with the polishing and the execution of the watch, appears very refined and elevated. Lastly, the iconic crown with the synthetic spindle and that beautiful blue color ties it all together with the handset on the classic stainless steel design. If we take a quick look at the other variations I have here, obviously the two-tone has the gold on the bezel as well as the screws, accents the watch, elevates it to a whole new level. The blue dial brings a new, different, darker color to it with almost like a dark midnight sunburst, which is maybe a little paradoxical, but it's got a beautiful sort of variation to it as you play with it in the light. But my new favorite is this gray one, which has different grains on the dial and has an ADLC bezel, so it's got an incredibly hard bezel to prevent any scratches. The gray color I think is another more formal type of coloring, but this watch does such an excellent job of balancing formal yet sports watch style. But let's get into the technical specs. I'll pull up the technical specs here on the side. So the case width is 39.8 millimeters in the large variant, which I'm showing here. The thickness is 9.38 millimeters, perfect as a dress watch. Water resistance 100 meters. The crystal is a sapphire, and the movement is a caliber 1847 MC, which is an in-house caliber. 2 additional great features of this watch are the QuickSwitch bracelet and the SmartLink adjustment system. So first, let's talk about the QuickSwitch bracelet. So this bracelet has a quick release button, which you can see right there, which lets you remove the bracelet without the need of any tools. This is something I've always wondered why other luxury brands don't do, and I'm super impressed by Cartier's implementation of it because it's so easy to use and it's wonderful to be able to swap it out without the need of a tool. This is paired with the SmartLink adjustment system, which, in addition to not needing a tool to swap out the bracelet, you don't need a tool to adjust the size. You can see there those little almost racetrack shapes on each section of the bracelet. If you press it in, it pops out this pin that you can pull out, and the pin never actually comes all the way out of the link. So that means you can remove the size, and you never have to worry about losing the link, and you don't need a tool to take it out or put it back in. These are 2 unique features that make this watch so easy to wear, adjust, and it feels like features that should just be there. It comes with a solid case back with some basic information on it, but let's get a couple shots on the wrist. Here we have it on my 7.5 inch wrist. I think the large size is the best size for me, plus I love the date window. I think all of these watches catch the light so beautifully, and the bezel just shines so nicely in the light. The blue one here, a little more refined, but I find myself liking it the longer I wear it. And here, the gray one actually is growing on me and is rapidly becoming my favorite. I love how the light catches those vertical grains. Now the two-tone, I love how elevated the look is with the gold. A little more flashy, a little higher end, but still looks so beautiful in any lighting. Lastly, we have the leather strap here for the regular stainless steel version. Really a nice way to change the look of this watch, a little more comfortable than a bracelet, some nice flexibility, and a way to change color and give this watch a new look. And we are of course at Royal Jewelers in Andover, Massachusetts. They've been kind enough to let me film with their watches today. Royal Jewelers is where I purchased my Tudor Black Bay and Oris Big Crown. I highly recommend you check them out if you're in the Massachusetts area. I'll link to their website in the description. Now let's talk MSRP. So MSRP of the white dial as well as the blue dial are both $7,750 US as of 5/14/23. The gray dial with the ADLC bezel is $8,050 US, and the two-tone comes in at $11,600 US, again as of May 14th, 2023. At those price points, these are certainly luxury watches, but these have all of the features you'd expect and more at that price point. So when you're talking about luxury watches, you're looking at things like brand heritage, which Cartier has. You're looking at history of the model, which again, this model has as the first ever pilot's watch, as well as arguably a sports watch. And it has brilliant, unique features like the SmartLink adjustment and the QuickSwitch bracelet, and a fully in-house movement with impeccable design. There's also a medium if you want a slightly smaller version. I personally think the large is the perfect size for most wrists at just under 40 millimeters, and I like the fact that the large is the only one with a date complication. The only thing that I can knock the Santos for is that its beautiful polished bezel is a scratch magnet. That is the only downside to these watches, that the beautiful high polished surfaces are very susceptible to scratching, but that's why the new gray ADLC version has captured my attention so much, because it helps resolve that issue with that extra hard ADLC coating, and I'm actually finding that the gray look is growing on me more and more. I'm excited by the fact that Cartier keeps introducing different variations on this model, whether there's the full yellow gold, rose gold, or the new green dial. It's exciting to see this line is alive and well, and from my point of view continues to be one of the most iconic watches currently available. But let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the Santos de Cartier? Which color option is your favorite? Is this a watch you could see yourself wearing? I'd love to hear what you have to say down below. This has been On The Wrist. Thank you for watching.